So right now, I'm trying to remain calm. I'm thinking about hanging myself. I'm thinking about driving my car off a cliff. I don't have the gas to do that. I try pills again, but just thinking about it, just thinking about it makes me sick. Just thinking about all the people that I asked for help that turned a blind eye, that listened to the slander instead of looking at the evidence. Meanwhile, these things that I spoke about, they've been proven not just in my case, but in many cases since, many cases before that I spoke about, need to be reopened. These other people who were victimized, even ones that are mad at me. That's the thing, when people hear the word child molester or rapist, they look the other way. They let people do whatever they want to you. When you're homeless, they do the same thing. There's millions of homeless people. Millions. And then there's the ones in the prisons that we're not counting as homeless because they're in the prisons. Why are they in the prisons? Because they're easy to victimize. You call me mentally ill, but instead of helping me with my disabilities, you punish me for having them. Instead of understanding that these are reactions to abuse, you guys turn a blind eye to that abuse. You turned a blind eye to all the people who assaulted me. A lot of people said that they would help. When? When it's too late. When it's too late, they offer help that I needed 6 months ago, or a year ago, or a year and a half ago. I try to tell people what's going on, and they don't listen, and so I have to hold it in, and I have to endure the abuse until I'm ready to explode. Please fucking help me or kill me. I mean, that's not complicated. My life has been non-stop abuse. I spoke up about it. Darren O'Connor turned a blind eye. My dad turned a blind eye. My mom turned a blind eye. My sister turned a blind eye. My brother turned a blind eye. Pierre turned a blind eye. I needed these people to tell the truth, to write a report about our interactions before Natalie died and after, about who I was before I hurt my back. Aunt B turned a blind eye. These people all offered help that they didn't provide. They didn't provide the help that they said they would. They finally come through when it's too late. They couldn't find the time. They call me family, and then their excuse for not finding the time is that their families are more important. I know your families are more important. I wish I was that important to my family. My dad's help didn't get me an honest day in court. It didn't get my disability back. It cost me. I got overdraft fees because they automatically take my insurance money out of the bank account. It fucks up my credit further. He didn't understand that it doesn't occur to him that the help that he wanted me to have fucked me because he didn't care what was going on. He didn't care to hear what was going on. Shannon Alvarado didn't realize that the help that she was not providing, that she said she would, fucked me. Like Alicia with that fucking telephone. Yes, I'm a mean fucking son of a bitch. I say a lot of mean shit. It's because these people didn't help. They went out of their way to not help, to not understand, or to play stupid. Write a report about what? What do you think, Darren? Shannon, at least, she admitted that I wasn't like this at her house. She admitted that she was an alcoholic. She was pissed off that I made mention about her and her boyfriend and their fights. Instead of understanding that that shut me down, she was pissed off that I said it. I tried saying it while I was there. She wasn't hearing it. That's the problem with alcoholics. They don't hear anything. That's the problem with druggies. They don't hear anything. I should have been allowed a day in court. I should have been allowed an honest fucking day in court. Darren O'Connor could have helped me get that. He didn't, though. He didn't even try. But I recorded our conversations and I put them here on YouTube to show what's going on. Yes, I scream. It's because I'm overwhelmed. I'm fucking overwhelmed. I'm stuck in an unsafe environment. When I was screaming on the phone with Miss Jerry, it's because I was in an unsafe environment. When I was screaming on the phone with Miss Peaches, it's because I'm in an unsafe environment. People don't want to understand that. I need to be able to not have this panic attack. That means I need a safe environment. Otherwise, I have to worry about my past experiences. My past experiences with the police, my past experiences with my family, with the Bollingers, with the way that people treat me because they don't want to understand. Because they're too drunk to understand. With Teresa, I didn't need her to talk to me drunk about her dead fucking husband. I was trying to get actual help and she was wasting my time. After Joseph Lopez was busted, people gave up interest, but not the predators. They never gave up interest. The predators never stopped caring. The police never left me alone. The courts never left me alone. The Bollingers never left me alone. And now, I don't have anything worth living for. You guys have robbed me of all hope by going out of your way not to understand. By going out of your way not to help. Yes, Shannon, you may love me, but not enough to stop drinking long enough to listen to what I have to say. You're an alcoholic, Shannon. Just like Teresa Orne. It wasn't just the bullying. It was the complacency of people who said they would help. When? When are you going to help? When are you going to make the time to listen? Meanwhile, the things that were done to me, they could be done to you. You end up broke and homeless. You help out some junkie because you care. They get the wrong idea in their head and you're the bad guy. They're pretty, so they matter more than you. They have a house, so they matter more than you. They don't have the mentally ill tag, so they matter more than you. They're not autistic, so they matter more than you. I needed my mom to try to understand, just make some effort, but she wouldn't. It's a power and control issue. That's why I try to talk to people one-on-one. Because it's always a power and control issue. Shannon couldn't stay sober long enough for that. Rick, her boyfriend, he took the time twice while I was there to listen to me. So every day I worry that me driving is going to get me pulled over and get all of the proof taken away. But why does the evidence matter if no one's going to look at it? And I've tried to learn how to show people that, to show the public what's really going on, and the public sees it and turns a blind eye. Jennifer Dazowski, I gave her an interview. She was supposed to turn it into the police. She didn't. Instead, they went out of their way to twist my words into something they're not, to mean something it doesn't. Instead of understanding one-on-one, people attacked me publicly for things that they didn't understand or intentionally took wrong, like David and Betsy Prowell did. Instead of attempting to understand, I'm overwhelmed. I need a safe environment. I'm overwhelmed. I need a safe environment. I need a place where I'm not stuck listening to other people abuse each other. Where I'm not stranded in that situation. I mean, I had to worry that if I spoke up to Shannon, that I wouldn't get my mail. Meanwhile, people who claim to love me showed me that they don't. But I don't mean anything to them. I'm just worth pretty words. Their pretty words are dismissive of the situation. They're dismissive of my disabilities and my abilities. And they say mean, hurtful things. The generic things that you tell homeless people. Get a job. I can't. I can't function without a safe environment. I need a safe environment first. I'm not allowed to speak up because I'm a bad person for it. These people slandered me worldwide. I'm not allowed to defend myself in my own house because I don't have one. My pattern is to ask for help and get ignored and talked over. And I beg for help. And I get ignored and talked over. Those pretty fucking words. Please take a look. But I have to show you in person because I don't have a place to process all this shit. Mentally, I don't have the ability to process it without a safe environment. So everything was done to prevent me from having a safe environment. Homelessness is not a safe environment. I make these videos because I need help. I've been denied every bit of help that actually helps me. And I tell you what those things are and you guys dismiss them. The help that you think I need is more important. So the sliding fee scale, I go to appointment after appointment after appointment. Even with the sliding fee scale, I don't have the money to go do all these things. I can't take care of myself, let alone go running around to do all of this shit for people who aren't gonna help, for these services that don't work. How many videos have I posted where we've called places that we've already called, that I've already called repeatedly? I need an autism advocate, someone who is aware of autism, someone who knows how it works. I screamed for help and I got abuse, or ignored, or told I wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it, or that I'm a liar. I tried to explain to people who didn't want to listen, couldn't make time to listen, or they realize it's going to be work. They realize it's going to take time. I knew it was going to take time. That's the thing, is that when you rush me, I shut down. That's the thing about court date to court date to court date to court date, to public pretender to their investigator to investigator. It all costs money and it all costs time, and it doesn't get anything accomplished if nobody takes a look. If everyone makes excuses not to look. So much happens that I need a lot of time to process this shit. I don't mean just processing it mentally. I mean actually going through it all. When I go through and try to organize it and I'm fucking overwhelmed because I have a very short amount of time and I have to go through all of this stuff in a day. And then I have to pack up and leave. And then I have to come back and I have to sort through it all again. That's the problem with sensory overload, is that these people don't understand sensory overload, and the ones that do used it to punish me by sending me into sensory overload. There's supposed to be services that help. There's supposed to be, but there's not. Your help is to tell me I need drugs and to lock me up, to threaten my life and ignore those who threaten my life. I proved that these things are okay for others, but not okay for me. These therapists get money for doing nothing. These drug companies get money for punishing me further. I understand your family is more important. I don't have a family. My family doesn't care what I have to say. They don't understand homelessness. They don't understand any of this. My older brother does, but he's not autistic. He doesn't have Tourette's syndrome. He's the one who does drugs, and I'm the one who gets treated like I'm on drugs because I have Tourette's syndrome and because I'm overwhelmed, and people don't like how I act when I'm overwhelmed. Meanwhile, they act the same way when I expose them. Like Shannon when I exposed her alcoholism. And then they gang up on me. I needed someone to protect me from that, and there is no one. Assisted suicide should be illegal. When I'm dead, please help me die. You're not gonna stop drinking. You're not gonna stop doing drugs. Those things are more important than me. Getting laid is more important than me. These people played victim and accused me of playing victim. I tried to get help and got ignored until I had to break the law to try to get someone to take a look, to try to force them to take the evidence, and they wouldn't. This is why I fight for assisted suicide, because I fight hard to try to get equality, to try to get treated like a human being, and I get punished for it until I'm overwhelmed and want my life to end. I don't get to see my loved ones. When I do, they think that they should be the most important people in my life. Meanwhile, I'm not worth shit to them because they have more important people in their life. Their assumptions are more important than looking at the facts, looking at the statistics, looking at the truth. And when I try to show them, they look the other way. Darren O'Connor, he knows that the things I say are true. He sees them happening to others. These people want to be angry that I expose their secrets, that I expose the truth. And even when it happens to them, they pretend I deserved it. They go out of their way to twist my words into something that I don't mean, and I'm sorry that I don't type well. I'm sorry that I'm so overwhelmed all the goddamn time. See, here's the thing, is that I can't show all of these screenshots. All of the shit that I've been through, I don't have the ability technically. I have to worry that if I get arrested, all of this evidence goes away. They're obviously not going to look at it. They call me mentally ill, and they don't have to. Homeless people are too easy to railroad. People with sensory overload were too easy to victimize. They used my disabilities to try to pretend I was some sort of a terrible person. They're going to prevent me from ever having an honest day in court because there's nobody actually on my side. Is Miss Peaches going to speak up to the courts? Is she going to show up even in court? No, she's too broke. Her family's more important. Is Miss Tabby going to? No, she's too broke, and her family's more important. Is Graham going to? Shit, he wouldn't even look at that shit. I wanted to help people. People like me, though. That's the whole thing with the castle, is that it's not even a castle. It's a garden. It's a peaceful place where people who suffer from these things don't have to suffer, don't have to be abused for how they react to their suffering. I shouldn't have had to trust people like Haramia and Kara Rogers, or Kara Johnson, Kara Miles. Layla Johnson, Dan Faber. There's professionals who are supposed to do that. These people, it put them in a financial bind. And they won't hear a thing that I have to say. Dan felt that him giving me money meant that that entitled him to down on me without finding out the situation. Go at me in public without finding out the situation. And every time somebody who was supposed to be helping me did that, it made things worse. Made my panic attacks worse. Please find out what's going on before voicing your opinion, because your opinion doesn't mean shit if you don't know the facts. With Rihanna, her husband, being an asshole, she typed at me that he doesn't scream or yell at her or anything like that. He never lays a hand on her. Very next day I went over there. He was yelling at her for damn sure upstairs about me being there. She invited me. And it hurts me to hear that screaming, and that doesn't register to her. She said she was trying to keep me as a friend, and she was trying to keep her family. It shouldn't have been that way. I'm not the one who made it a choice between her family and me. Her husband was. Everything I did for the Bolingers, everything I did for Miss Shelley, everything I did for their family, even after Natalie disappeared, to try to protect them from Ted. No matter what, they're gonna lock me up long enough that the evidence that I need will be destroyed. They locked me up to prevent me from going to court. They should have not had that court without me. They should have allowed me to defend myself in those court dates. But they didn't. They should have allowed me to speak to an officer, but they didn't. Darren O'Connor, he's fake as fuck. May he roast in hell. All of these people have family. Their families ganged up on me. Teresa Orne, her and her daughter ganged up on me. Because I wouldn't do what they wanted. I tried explaining to them that what they wanted was not help. But it's do what you want or you'll punish me. Alex Furman sent me $40 with Western Union today to help me to get somewhere safe, but there's no safe place to go to. I can't see my family because of warrants. I can't see my friends because of warrants and because of slander. And because these people pretended to be nice, it's okay. Because they pretended to be nice, then the wrong things that they did are okay. And because I'm not nice anymore, I'm a bad person. I can't afford to be nice because you don't listen if I'm nice. How many of you can tell I'm having a severe panic attack right now? How many of you? I was a happy person when I was homeless in Boulder. I was happy. Even with the police harassment. The reason I was happy is because I could see my loved ones. After I left Virginia, I couldn't see my loved ones. What the courts did was prevent me from seeing my loved ones. What the police did was prevent me from seeing my loved ones. I shouldn't have had to break the law. My guilt was decided before I ever had a day in court. Judge, jury, and executioner. People just looking away because it's not happening to them. Or because they realize that helping me is going to take actual work, actual effort. For Shannon Alvarado, yeah, she can say she loves me, but she doesn't love me enough to stay sober. With the pictures that she took, she was so fucking drunk, half of them were blurry. And she was experiencing complications and gave up because she could only send 3 at a time. Meanwhile, it took hours on that day to get her to do 5 minutes worth of work. Meanwhile, I'm doing as much as I can. People say you need to do it yourself. I'm fucking trying. I'm shut down. Darren is supposed to be some sort of fighter for homeless rights, but he's not. They're still trying to push the racism kick. That hurts us, not helps us. Because it turns people's eyes away from what's really going on. How people really treat the homeless. There was a young woman here who said that she would come take a look on her day off, but she didn't, and I understand, you know, people need their downtime. Being homeless is hell, especially when you can't see your loved ones. Most of the loved ones I'm referring to are homeless people in Boulder because they understand. There's a guy named John who's going through some similar shit as far as people slandering his name and calling him a child molester, but he's big. So people don't assault him. They're afraid of him because of his size. I'm small. They think I'm a child molester because I was never allowed to defend myself. I was never allowed to defend myself in court because of circumstances that I couldn't change. I couldn't change the fact that Ken and Leah stole all my money. I spent all of my disability money going from place to place to place to place to place to place to place, trying to find a safe place to be. A place without alcoholics getting drunk and yelling at people over retarded shit. A place where I wasn't yelled at or screamed at for speaking or talked over. That's the difference between Shannon and my dad. Shannon, she'd just talk over me. My dad would scream over me. Whatever it takes to not hear what I have to say. Whatever it takes, right? This is why I'm suicidal. Because the help that was supposed to be there wasn't. I have too much to go through, and it shuts me down and prevents me from doing any of it. But I power through, and I get a little bit done at a time. And then I get overwhelmed and realize that I need help. And without help, none of it makes any difference. I just have to take the abuse like I have my entire life. Hoping my dad would listen, hoping my mother would listen. My dad wasted money on things that I told him weren't going to work. But I still tried them to show him that I was making an effort. And he tries to play it off like he did more than he did. Like he tried to get me to go in every day that I was there. No, he didn't. He kept telling me to call those places. And I called them, and I called them, and they never returned my calls. He's telling me I have to go in person. I know, Dad. I need you to go with me. That's the problem, is that you're pretending now like you were going to do things that you didn't. You didn't try to go in with me every day. When the protection order was out, and I was no longer allowed to speak about these people, I went through to take screenshots of the things that were going on. And I realized that these people had unblocked me. So I harassed them until they blocked me again. There's no reason for them to be stalking me. It's okay for them though, right? It's okay for them, but not for me. It's okay for them to spy on my Facebook, but not for me. That's why I wrote those things about Natalie. Because I knew that she was looking, and I was hoping it would make a difference. I was hoping that she would have some fucking remorse. But she didn't want people to know that she was on drugs, just like Shannon Alvarado didn't want people to know she's an alcoholic. The Sally Treons, them two meth heads, one of them kicked her daughter in the face. The other one was on the news for killing her son. I shouldn't have had to put it on Facebook. I didn't want to put it on Facebook. I put it on Facebook so that it's documented. I put it on YouTube so it's documented. The things that help me to cope with what's going on, I don't have access to. A safe place. My dad couldn't provide a safe place because he's too abusive. Just assuming that I'm wrong, just like Dan Faber did. Just assuming instead of finding out. When I react to abuse, it's not just the abuse that I'm going through, it's the abuse around me. That's why assisted suicide should be legal. I don't have the money to get myself to a safe place where I can have access to positive people. A lot of the women that I know, they ended up dating dudes that had a house, or had an apartment, had a place for them to go. Shannon Alvarado's, she was talking about how I never streamed at her, but I streamed on videos at her place in the morning sometimes. That streaming is because I was overwhelmed with the abuse there at her house. That streaming was because I couldn't make the phone calls I needed during the day because she didn't want people to hear her daughter screaming. I say these things over and over again because I'm hoping someone will help. Instead of abusing me for asking for help or for getting overwhelmed. When you go out of your way to take things wrong, yeah, I'm gonna treat you like shit. When you haven't looked at the evidence, but you want to make a judgment anyway, yeah, I'm gonna treat you like shit. It was the complacency of people who told me they loved me, told me they cared, and they all threw me away. They all went out of their way not to look. They all had some excuse why they couldn't. After calling me family, they tell me they can't help me because they have to help their family. People throw money at me. Not very much, not enough to survive on. I'm not ungrateful for it by saying that. I'm saying it's not enough. I need a place for 2 weeks. 2 weeks that's not abusive. To sit down and go through everything. Not be worried about the police pulling me over and taking everything away, because that's what will happen if I get pulled over.